And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting Circuit Stream workshop and webinar. Thank you all for joining us here today. Just before I do continue on, I want to be sure you can all hear me and see me. Quick AV check. So, in the chat to the right there of the screen, let me know if you can all hear me and see me. Hello, Dayan, Sharin, Shweta, Emiliano, Tyler, Etienne. I see yeses all around. Hi, I can hear you. Agassi, I see you. Tyler, Raina, Ragua, Susan, Avery, and Haya. Thank you all for letting me know that you can hear me and see me. That's great. We can continue on here slowly. Super excited to be hosting this workshop along my colleague here today. We'll be showing you a brief introduction to virtual reality development by building a VR Jenga game together. Now, as with all of our workshops and webinars, I love to ask where our audience is tuning in from today. We typically have people all over the world. So let me know in the chat to the right there. Where are you from? I see South Florida. We got Florida, Colorado, Texas, Detroit, Miami. Lots of Americans, Spain, India, Cornwall as well, London, UK, Canadians in the house as well. Tunisian from France, Khadija, welcome. Bristol, United Kingdom, Italy. So lots of people from all over the world again. And this is why I love hosting these workshops and webinars. Like-minded, interested individuals from all over the globe coming together to learn more all together. And it's super exciting to be hosting these workshops with you all here today. Now, a few housekeeping items before we start and kick off this presentation and workshop. As you've all seen to the right there is a chat tab. So feel free to chat amongst yourselves, add any comments that you would like. If anyone's got questions that are tossing in the chat, feel free to support them if we don't get to them. We will try and answer questions throughout this workshop, and we do have an in-depth Q&A session at the very end as well. Now, on top of the chat, you'll see some tabs there. There's a chat tab, questions tab, and polls tab. Now, if you do have any specific questions for ourselves, for myself, or my colleague and instructor, Indica, please toss them into the questions tab. This will help us organize the questions, see what we haven't answered, and really be sure to get to all of the questions that we can at the very end of this workshop. Hello, Jessica O'Reilly. Great seeing you from Taiwan. Now, again, chat tab, chat amongst yourselves. Questions tab. If you have questions, please toss them in there. If you put them into the chat, likely we'll ask you to put it into the questions tab. And there is a polls tab as well beside the questions tab if we've all got the same layout. Now, feel free to navigate to the polls tab right now just so you can get familiar with it. I'm going to toss in polls throughout this workshop and webinar. So I'm going to publish a poll right here, right now. The poll is going to ask, what devices do you own? So out of curiosity, and just so you all get familiar with the polls tab, feel free to go to the polls tab. Let me know, what AR, VR mobile device do you yourself have? I myself have a Quest and the Quest 2. I'm going to take a look at the results here. Lots of Oculus Quest as well, Androids and iPhones. That makes sense. Most people have a smartphone. I do know a lot of them are missing as well. A lot of devices are missing. So glad to see that everyone's getting familiar with the questions tab there. Now, one thing as well that I did want to mention, there are these little chat bubbles popping up. Bloop, 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 bloop. If you want to mute these chat bubbles and sounds, there is a little alarm, not alarm, or a bell kind of notification that should be towards the bottom right there. Feel free to click that. That'll mute notification sounds and those little pop buttons that do pop up there. But now that we've kind of gone through the housekeeping items, a little introduction of what we're going to cover today, let's get this going and kick it off. Today, we'll be showing you an introduction to virtual reality development, building and creating a virtual reality Jenga game together. So I myself will do a quick 5 to 10 minute introduction. Then I'll invite my colleague Indica onto the stage, and he will do the deep dive into virtual reality development and building that Jenga game together. Now, that's going to take about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the experience of the audience. After this technical portion, I'll come back, wrap things up with some resources, and then we'll dive into our live Q&A session, which should last about 15 to 30 minutes. Now, this workshop is all going to be recorded. So all the recording will be sent out to all of you joining us today and all the registrants, as well as the project files as well. So if you're a beginner and new to VR and Unity, I would suggest sit back, relax, observe, ask questions, get those answers, and we'll send you the recording and files to work with afterwards. You can pause it, slow it down, use it as you wish. We're going to cover a lot of content within this hour, hour and a half, at most 2 hours, depending on the questions we have. So don't try and follow along if you're new to all of this. Feel free, but we will send the recording and files afterwards that you can work with. So, a little introduction about myself here. My name is Stefan. I work on the partnership side here at CircuitStream. I have over 7 years of experience in the tech industry, working with travel IT companies, learning management system providers, ERP and business integration platforms, and now in the exciting world of virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. And a little icebreaker fact about myself, I was a member of Water Polo Canada and trained with the 2008 Beijing Olympic team. Never went to the Olympics, but with all of my kind of swimming skills, I was actually able to put it to great use. And I saved a drowning couple in Mexico a long time ago. Got caught in the currents and tides way out, pulled the girl in, went back out, pulled the guy in once the lifeguards noticed what was happening. So just a little icebreaker I do like to share on these workshops and webinars. Now, it's a pleasure and an honor to have my colleague Indika Wijasuria join me all the way from Sri Lanka, actually. So very international audience. I myself am in Canada. Indika's in Sri Lanka. He's one of our instructor and VR AR developers here at CircuitStream. He's been developing for over 5 years, using it for marketing, historical visualizations, industrial applications, VR and AR games, and more. And an icebreaker fact about Indika, he loves getting lost in long conversations, especially around technology. So if you have any tech questions, feel free to shoot them over. Indika would love to try and answer those for you. And if not, we'll note it down and get those answers back to you as soon as possible. So a little bit about us here at CircuitStream. Well, CircuitStream was founded and started in 2015 when we noticed a gap in helping people learn how to use Unity to build VR, AR experiences, games from scratch. A lot of people were on this hype train to start building, but didn't really know where to get started outside of, YouTube videos and just Google searching. So we came out in 2015. We've had the pleasure to reach over 40,000 learners around the world and how to develop, design, create, manage, and implement Unity and XR experiences from scratch. And we are also a Unity certified training and channel partner. And channel partners and training partners are approved based on their expertise, focus on quality education, and commitment to providing the highest level of training available. Now, we here at CircuitStream are certified experts, certified professionals, as I mentioned, Unity authorized training partners to deliver certified content. We've actually helped build content for Unity as well. So a great kind of place to start learning, getting into it, upskilling and advancing in Unity game development and XR as well. So we're a team of about 20, 25 people located all around the world, mainly in North America, South America, but we do have colleagues in Europe and Asia as well, really located all over the world. I myself in Canada as well, with this diverse audience we have today. And these are just some of the students and learners that we've had join our courses and programs around virtual reality, augmented reality design development, and game development, from Apple to the US Navy, Walmart, Deloitte, various universities and post-secondary schools, and even Accenture and Lockheed Martin as well. So it's been a pleasure to have these people join us to learn more about it. And even those who are fresh graduates or retired as well. We will teach anyone anything around Unity. So please don't hesitate to reach out or take a look at some of the things that we're able to teach you. So, diving into our academic offerings here briefly, we actually just announced an Introduction to Unity 3D Development course. This course is 8 weeks long, an introduction to Unity in general. It's not focused on AR and VR, but really helping you get familiar, get started with Unity and how everything works together. And I'll dive into that a little later on as well. Now, we do have our flagship courses that we've been holding for years as well. Our XR Developments with Unity course focuses on VR AR development, C# programming, and scripting. And then we have our interaction design and prototyping for XR course as well. Our XR design course, user experience, why teleport versus running and walking in VR and AR, different things like that, really diving into how users will experience and feel these applications and projects people are building. Now, what differentiates us from a lot of the other providers out there? Well, it's our live mentorship and one-on-one support that come bundled with some of our courses as well, where we sit down privately one-on-one with you, help focus on any learning needs you have, and build out your own projects to show for as well, in addition to various other portfolio pieces that are completed in the programs. And we do also offer private team training opportunities as well. So if you work with a company, have family, colleagues, whatever it may be, interested in learning all together privately on certain specific topics or projects, we do also offer this, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later on. So now that you've learned a little bit about us, what are you all here today? What are you going to learn? Well, we're going to show you how Unity is used to build virtual reality applications. We're also going to dive in how to build a Unity environment, the VR scene building basics, how to use light mapping and baking lights to achieve better reality, and the basic physics and interactions between objects. Now, if you can all navigate to the polls tab here again, I'm going to toss in another question, another poll, and I'd love to see and gauge the experience of the audience here. I'm curious to know, because today is a VR Jenga workshop, I'd love to know how many of you actually know what virtual reality is. So I just published the poll. Feel free to navigate to the polls tab. I would love to see how many of you know what VR is. So looks like we've got, up to 40, 50, 60 saying yeses. We've got a few with some no's here as well. So great. You all know what virtual reality is, or the vast majority of you, and no worries at all. I'm going to quickly touch up on it, show you what it is, and then we'll dive into it a little bit further after. So this is an example of virtual reality. Virtual reality is being fully immersed in a virtual environment where your physical environment just isn't able to be seen. So as you can see, this fellow here puts on a VR headset, boom, his physical environment is gone. He is completely immersed in a virtual reality environment. Now, how is this different from AR? AR, augmented reality, you can still see your physical environment, but you've got some digital information and overlays on top that you may be able to interact with as well. That's a component of mixed reality too. But again, VR, fully immersive, AR, MR, partly and partially immersive. So now I'm going to toss in another poll here, because some of you may know what VR and virtual reality is, but some of you may not know what Unity is. So I'm going to toss in another poll here. Feel free to go to the polls tab. Curious to know, how much Unity experience do you have on a scale of 0 to 10? 0 being, I've never heard of Unity before. What is Unity? 10 being, I'm the Chuck Norris Jedi Master of Unity. So I'm going to publish the poll here. Do let me know on a scale of 0 to 10. 0, what's Unity? What? I've never heard of Unity. 10, oh yeah, I've been using Unity for years right now. So taking a look at the results here, we've got quite a large beginner audience. And again, if you are beginners here today, this is all recorded. We will send you the replay recordings afterwards with the project files. So sit back, relax, kick your feet up, ask questions, observe, and use the resources we send over to you afterwards to pause, slow it down, start building your VR Jenga experience. Um, with this, we are covering a lot of content here today in a short amount of time. So uh, sit back, relax. Feel free to follow along if you'd like, but I would say use the recordings we do afterwards. Now, for those of you who put, a 1 or a 0, don't know what Unity is, kind of know what Unity is, well, what is Unity? Unity is a free 3D development engine for building games, simulations, and experiences. It's the easiest way to begin making apps for XR and game development as well, AEC applications and projects too. Now, XR, what is XR? Maybe should have tossed the poll here as well. XR stands for extended reality. Now, that's an umbrella term that captures, quite a few things. But for today, XR extended reality captures augmented reality and virtual reality. It's an umbrella term, kind of a short term to illustrate and depict this industry and market here. So Unity is one of the leading real-time 3D engines out there. There's another engine out there called Unreal. We are familiar with Unreal. Our instructors are familiar with the Unreal Engine, but we here focus on Unity. And Unity is used to create over 60% of the world's content and applications for XR. Now, Unity's impact is global. 3 billion are the number of times applications are developed by Unity creators that are downloaded per month. So 3 billion downloads per month for Unity projects that have been created by their creators. Now, 190 countries are where Unity creators live and work around the world. So it is a very global reach. A lot of people around, even today on the workshop, people from all over the world joining here together to learn more about XR, Unity, and so on. And learning Unity and XR skills is an advantage. Burning Glass Technologies mentioned 601% demand growth for Unity and Unreal skills. 57% projected Unity developer growth over the next 3 years leading into this year and next year. They were saying 1.1 million US programming jobs were expected to go unfulfilled last year. That's a lot of jobs out there that people are missing out on. And 1,400% projected AR VR job growth that was last year as well in 2020. And those with Unity skills are expected to have about $20,000 increase in salary as well. So Unity, XR, game development, everything in Unity is a very kind of growing industry and skill that is needed out there in the industry and the market today. Now, how does one person actually go about, creating something in Unity? Let's take this VR project, for example. Well, you have an idea and you bring that idea into a creation engine like Unity. That's where you develop and design, put together your idea. And once that's all done there, you use an SDK, software development kit, to push it out to whichever device or headset you had intended that experience to be for. So again, you have an idea, you bring it into Unity, you build it, SDK to device, voila, you've got your own game experience, VR, AR project ready to go and designed. But let's get this show on the road. I would love to bring and introduce my colleague, Indika Wijayasuriya, onto the stage here. Again, Indika's joining us from Sri Lanka. He's been doing this stuff for several years. So it's a pleasure and an honor to have Indika join us. Indika, great seeing you. Thank you very much for joining me here today.
Thank you very much, Steph, for the lovely introduction. So, without further ado, let's get this started.
Perfect.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'll hop
So
off
I'm
here.
going to.
And sorry, Indika. Yes, I'll hop
Awesome.
off here. Indika's going to take about 30 to 45 minutes to try and to really show you how to build this VR Jenga game experience. So 30 to 45 minutes, I'll rejoin, wrap things up, and then we'll get into that in-depth Q&A. But you're all in great hands, Indika. Take it away. Don't want to bother you anymore, and I'll see you very soon.
Amazing. All right. So let me share my screen here. Let me know if you can see my screen. All right. Can you all see my screen? Awesome. All right. So before starting off, development of this project, my colleague Deha has posted a link for you right? So we'll be using some assets that we created for this workshop. And also in this asset pack, you'll be getting some scripts. So we won't be talking a lot into C# programming today, right? I'll be explaining a little bit about it, but not that much. But download this, keep it downloaded, and let's get this started. Right. Okay, so you have to go to this link and you'll be able to see this. You need to click this VR Jenga Assets Unity package, right? And click it, and you'll be able to download this Unity package into your computer. All right. So if you are new to Unity, right? The first thing that you need to do, that you need to open up when you are creating a new Unity project is this. This is called Unity Hub. Unity Hub is kind of a starter application that shows you all the different versions of Unity that you have installed and also different projects that you've been working on. So right here you can see I have a couple of Jenga projects already, and I have like a bunch of projects. So most of these projects are, the projects that we learn in the XR development and design classes, right? So in order to work with in order to create this project, I'm going to be using Unity 2020.3.8. You can use any later version, right? Any of the later versions are fine, but I'll be using 2020.3 version of Unity. So if you go to unity.com, you'll be able to see a very good documentation of integrating the installing different versions of Unity, right? And how to install Unity Hub, and you can do that. So I'm going to go into the projects tab, and I'm going to start creating a new project, right? So over here, I'm going to click new project, right? And I'm going to choose the editor version. From here, I'm going to choose Unity 2020.3 because this is the one that I'm going to be using. And I'm going to use this thing called 3D sample scene URP. URP is known as the Universal Render Pipeline. The Universal Render Pipeline consists of different packages that makes that you can use to make your project much more enhanced. Like there are things like shader graph, like visual effects. So Universal Render Pipeline consists of all these features. So we will be using that for the Jenga game. And here I'm going to give a project name. So I'm going to give, I'm just going to call it Jenga. You can give any name that you want. It's a must to give a name. Otherwise, your whole project is going to be something like new project or something, right? Okay, so URP, give a project name and give a proper location to your project, and then press this create project button. So I'm not going to do that because it takes a little while to create a new project. So click that button and you'll be given something like this, right? So I'm going to close my Unity Hub here. Okay, so I'm gonna get like 2 minutes to introduce you to the Unity's interface because most of you guys are new. Over here, you have the basic tools, right? So since this is a 3D application, 3D applications, you need to move 3D objects, right? You need to rotate 3D objects, and also you need to scale the 3D objects up and down, right? And these are called rect tools, and there are some other tools. So basically, this is the move tool, the rotation tool, and the scale tool. Right underneath, you can see something called the hierarchy window. The hierarchy window consists of different, it has a list of things, right? So if you select the main camera in the hierarchy, you can see that in the 3D view over here, it has selected an object, right? If you select the directional light, it will show you that it has selected this, right? And also you can see that this example asset, it is situated in a way that's like a hierarchy, right? So if you expand this, you'll be able to see something called the workshop set, props, and you can expand that. So we call this as a child parent structure in Unity. So you can group a set of objects using a child parent structure, right? So you can basically just drag one object and put it inside another object, and it is going to be, it's going to be a child object, right? So you can do that. And in the middle, you'll be able to see the scene window, right? The scene window is basically your scene, right? You can like navigate within this 3D workspace. Basically, this is the workspace that you get. And also we have another window called the game window, right? If you select the game window, you'll be able to see something like this, right? Basically, this is the game window, right? If you create a game, if you create something in Unity that runs in the PC or your mobile phone or whatever it is, this is what you see, right? This is the preview of what the user would see, right? So by default, whatever that we put here, this thing is captured using the camera, right? If I move my camera a little bit, right, you can see the viewport of the camera right over here. If I take my move tool and if I move this camera a little bit, yeah, that's not a little bit, and if you go to the game view, you can see that it has slided off a little bit, right? Okay, so we have the scene view and the game view. And also, if you select the main camera, you can see there is another window called the inspector, right? The inspector window is basically the property window, and it has a bunch of components, right? It has a transform component, it has a camera component, it has an audio listener component, and also it has something called simple camera controller. So these are components. So each of these game objects contain different types of components. So when we are building projects with Unity, we use these components to manipulate the different 3D objects, right? So that is how we create logic in Unity, right? So we create custom components in a way that we can manipulate these 3D models, 3D objects. It can be 2D objects or whatever that is. Okay, so right underneath, you can see the project window. Inside the project window, you'll be able to see all the assets, basically all the project files that you are using in your project, right? So now, before importing the package that we downloaded, we need to do we need to do a lot of configurations in order to make this work. In order to convert this to an XR or a VR project, right? So let's get this started. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to the Package Manager, right? So I went to Window menu and I opened up the Package Manager. And over here, you'll see a drop down, right, which says Packages in Project. So I'm going to click it and I'm going to choose Unity Registry. This will list down all the assets, all the packages that is provided to us by Unity, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way down and click this XR plugin management, and I'm going to install this, right? Click XR plugin management and click the install button right over here. Ta-da. So it might take a little bit of time to install that package. There we go. Okay. So this might take a little bit of time. All right. There we go. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, so there is this settings button right over here in the package manager, right? I'm going to click this and I'm going to select advanced project settings, right? Okay, and here you'll be able to see something called enable preview packages. I'm going to click this, and now it says that preview packages are blah 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 blah. So I'm going to click I understand. Basically we are going to use a preview package which is known as XR interaction toolkit. So now you'll be able to see all the preview packages in the Unity registry. So I'm going to scroll all the way down, and over here there is something called XR interaction toolkit. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to install this. So installing this will import few additional files into my project. Plus, this particular project is using something called the new input system, right? So Unity has an input system. So if you take a VR controller like this, you have different types of inputs. So we need to capture these input values, and we need to give some ID. We need to like execute different functions based on these inputs. So we're going to be binding them. In order to do that, we are going to use something called the new input system of Unity. So usually the XR interaction toolkit consists of the new input system. And since we are changing the new input, changing the project to the new input system, it will ask me to restart the project. So I'm going to press yes, and I'm going to wait a little bit of time to restart this project. So it's going to ask me to hold on. So I'm going to save this. I don't really need to save this. So this will restart my project. Okay, so while the Unity project is coming up, so the basic idea of this project is to give you an understanding to get started with a VR project, and also to understand the basic concepts of your controller movements and how you can use these controller movements to manipulate 3D models, manipulate objects in the world, right? So that is why we chose a Jenga game, right? A Jenga game is, it uses physics, right? We can push and we can like pull different objects, right? So we're going to be using those basic concepts here. Right, so now the XR interaction toolkit is installed. So now I need to do something else, right? So I need to, again, scroll all the way down, and I'm going to click XR interaction toolkit again. And here, there is something called samples. So I'm going to expand this, and I'm going to import this default input actions. Right, so I'm going to click import, and this will import some default input actions that are binded, that are bound for the VR controllers. Okay, right. So the first setup is done. Now I'm going to close the package manager from here. Which packages were installed? I think I missed one before this one. Yes. So the first one is the XR plugin management, and the other one is XR interaction toolkit. Right, just two. And then after installing this, I imported this default input actions. Okay, right now, so this is the scene. So using WASD and using your right click, you'll be able to navigate within this scene, right? So it's gonna, for a newcomer to Unity, it's gonna be a little bit complex to navigate within this scene. So you can basically click one object, and you can hold your alt, and you can click and drag around. You can press F key to move right next to it, and here you'll be able to like visualize this model, right? Just navigate around. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, so there are like some other steps that we need to do. So now I'm going to go to edit, project settings, right? And right over here, I'm going to go to XR plugin management, right? And I'm going to let Unity know that this is going to be an XR project, right? Even if I installed all these packages, it is still not an XR project. Now we're going to let the users know, let Unity know. So here you will be able to see a bunch of tabs. So the first one would be the PC tab. And then I have like a Universal Windows package. And also there is this Android, right? So if you are building for an HTC Vive, an Oculus Rift, or a tethered VR, a PC VR headset, make sure that you tick Oculus, right? If you tick Oculus in the PC tab. So here I'm going to be using just my PC. So I'm going to click Oculus. So if you are using an HTC Vive or an HP VR headset or something else that is not an Oculus, make sure that you install, that you tick OpenXR instead, right? So here I pressed Oculus. And also, you need to understand that this Oculus Quest is an Android device, right? So if you want to build this, and if you want to show, like if you want to deploy, if you want to install this into your Oculus Quest, then you need to make sure that you need to make sure that you go to Android panel and tick Oculus here as well. So I'm not going to do that right now. Can you choose more than one? Yes, exactly. You can choose more than one, and it is going to support based on the system that you export this into, right? you can just like tick everything and it's going to work without an issue. Right, so I'm just going to choose the Windows mode and tick Oculus. Now, so I can dock this project settings right over here, right? So I'm going to dock it over here. And I'm going to select the preset manager, right? Preset manager. So you'll be able to see a bunch of stuff here. So now what I'm going to do is, what if we don't have the Android panel? Okay. So if you don't have the Android panel, you first need to open up your Unity Hub, right? You need to open up your Unity Hub, and you need to make sure that Android supportive uh, modules are installed. So if you go to installs, you can select your editor version, and here you need to click this, click add modules, and here you need to make sure that Android build support is installed. So if it is not, you can tick like this and you can install. So make sure you tick Android build support, Android SDK and NDK tools, and OpenJDK. So you need these three in order to work with an Oculus Quest. So it is fine right now, even if you don't have it, no worries. You can just build it, and after after doing the project, you can always change to the relevant platform. All right. So now I'm in the preset manager, and I'm going to go into, so in the assets, you'll be able to see something called samples. Inside the samples folder, you'll be able to see something called XR Interaction Toolkit. Go inside that and go into this, and there is something called default input actions. And here you'll be able to see a bunch of input actions, right? So this is already provided by Unity, right? So that is the sample set that we imported right after importing the XR Interaction Toolkit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the left controller, and in the inspector window, there is a button called Add to Action Based Controller Default. So let me get my mouse highlight. So this might be a little bit easier for you to follow my mouse. So there is something called Add to Action Based Controller Default. So I'm going to click it, and you can see that it has created a new filter over here called XR Default Left Controller. I'm going to do the same thing to my right controller as well, right? And I'm going to select Add to Action Based Controller Default. Right. Now, what I'm going to do is in my preset manager, I'm going to change this. I'm going to add a filter over here. So for the right controller, I'm just going to type right with capital R. And to my left controller, I'm going to type left. Okay. Right. So this is required. Otherwise, you'll have to set up all the inputs by hand. So that is why we add this to the controller default. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my scene. Now this is now it is the time to import our Unity package, right? And also it is the time to set up the VR project. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Game Assets menu, go to Import Package and select Custom Package, right? So this will open up a folder. So I have this Unity package already. There is this package already. So I'm going to select it, and I'm going to open this, right? So make sure you download, you have the Unity project downloaded. Is it a problem if you have already imported the package? No, that's fine. That's okay. It's going to be okay. So now what I'm going to do is, so you'll be able to see this a list of assets that I have created for you, right? So I'm going to click import, and all of these things will be imported into this, right? So it might take a little bit of time. All right, there we go. Okay, now we are going to set up this environment. We are going to set up a Jenga board, right? Not a Jenga board. We are going to create our own Jenga table, and we will be making a huge version of Jenga blocks. Right? It's not this small thing where you can push things with your fingers. It's going to be one that we do with full control, you push it with your fist, something like that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this workshop set inside the example assets, right? I'm going to expand that, And over here, you'll be able to see something called ground, the OSB panel, the stud frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything, right? Using my control key or command key on Mac, drywall panel, OSB panel, stud frame, stud pile, everything instead of the ground. And in the inspector window, I'm going to click this tick right over here, which disables everything. So I'm going to tick it and nothing, everything will be gone. Okay. So there is one more addition thing that I needed to do. I want to go to window lighting. So this is not like required for this project. So I'm going to stop lighting for a moment. So here I went to window rendering lighting. It's going to take a bit of time to generate lighting for now. So I'm going to untick this and I'm going to go back to the inspector window, right? So now I'm going to select these props and I'm going to delete them from the scene, right? So now you'll be able to see a very cool looking platform. Okay, nice. All right, now you can see all of these icons around. So these things are known as gizmos, right? So gizmos are used to understand different like objects that are in the scene, to identify the objects in the scene that doesn't have actually a 3D model or any like a visual element. So you can get rid of them by clicking this gizmos button, or you can click it again to take it back. There is this arrow key, and you can scale it down, so they are not going to be a distraction anymore, but they'll be in the scene. All right. So now what I'm going to do is there will be a VR Jenga folder in your project because we imported that. Inside the VR Jenga folder, you'll see something called models, right? So double click and open up the models. And inside that, you'll be able to see something called table, and go into source, right? Here you have an IKEA desk. We're going to be using an IKEA desk to place all the VR Jenga, the Jenga blocks. And so I'm going to drag this model and I'm going to drop it on top of this. And here you go, right? There we go. Right, so we have a cool looking table right now on the scene. Nice. Okay, now you can see that the IKEA desk is right over here. All right. Yeah, not really, because I just happened to find out a very good desk, All right, so now I'm going to change the sky box, right? The sky box is basically the sky. I don't want this sky to be a distraction for us. So if you go to the materials folder inside the VR Jenga, you can see there is a material, something that is called sky. I'm going to drag this sky and drop on top of this sky box, right? So now the whole environment is a dull, so that it's just a blank white environment. So now we can focus only on our we can focus only on our Jenga blocks here. Okay, right. Now what I'm going to do is so here we have this table, and in this table we need to set up some sort of colliders, right? Colliders in Unity are basically, they define boundaries of objects, right? If you want two objects to bounce off, you need to have a component called collider, right? A collider defines the bounds. So having just a 3D model doesn't make sure that you have a boundary. We have to add that boundary and we have to define that boundary, right? So to do that, I'm going to click click this desk, and I'm going to click, inside the inspector, I'm going to click this add component, and I'm going to search for a box collider, and I'm going to click it, and it will give me a box collider. So if you have gizmos enabled, now you'll be able to see, this desk, around this desk, you have some sort of a green color cube, right? A green color border around it. So this border actually defines a collision box, right? So that is why we call it a collider, right? So I'm going to keep it as it is. Now it is the time to import our Jenga blocks, right? So here, if you go to prefabs, right? So here you will be able to see a bunch of prefabs here, right? If you expand this, you'll be able to see something called drag hand, Jenga block, push hand, teleport text, and a wand. We'll be not using the wand here in today's workshop. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this Jenga block and drop it on top of the table. There you go. Right. And also, if you really love to, um, experiment, you can bring multiple Jenga blocks on top of each other. And here we go. All right. There you go. So I'm going to give a small introduction why I gave you this Jenga block like this. So if you open up this Jenga block, you can see this consists of like 6 cubes, right? All of them put together, side by side, and 3 more side by side. So if you select one cube, you'll be able to see there is something called the box collider, which is basically a collision box. And also there is a rigid body, right? The rigid body, right? A rigid body defines the physical properties of an object, right? You can add gravity, you can add some sort of a mass, and you can see that the mass of this is set to 10. That means, in VR, this is 10 kilograms. It has a mass of 10 kilograms, right? So something like that. And also you can set up the drag, the angular drag, and you can see that the drag of this is set to 0. The angular drag is set to 0.05. The drag is basically the friction force that you get in this physical object. All right. And also you can see there is something called offset grab. I'm going to be explaining this a little bit later. The offset grab is a custom component that I created because we need to make sure that you'll be able to use the controllers to grab them around, right? Okay, so now you can see in the box collider there is a material called Jenga block, right? This material, the material that we have added into the how to use snap vertices shortcut, I think it will be very useful. Yes. So if you want to snap these vertices, imagine you create a new cube, right? You right click here and create a new cube, right? If you want to snap this, make sure you have the move tool selected, and hold the V key, right? Hold the V key, and here you'll be able to like move your mouse while holding the V key, and you can move your mouse over here and you can drag it, and you can see how this snaps, right? See, this snaps to different objects. So I can also snap this cube, holding my V key. I can snap this to this edge, this vertices, right? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it over here, and look how it, completely got snapped, right? Super smooth, super smooth, right? Okay, so by default, if you drag and drop this Jenga block, it's always going to be like, even without pressing any shortcut, it's gonna just take the surface and it's gonna be applied to like stick to the surface, right? So you don't really need to like press any shortcuts here, but you have them around. So I'm gonna delete these Jenga blocks. I don't need them around here. Right? So that's a thanks for asking that. It's a really good tip to be given. Right. So what I was mentioning is that we have in the box collider, there is something called material, right? So here I've added a material called Jenga block. So when you click this, it will take me to, inside my assets, there is something called Jenga block. And in the Jenga block, you can see that I have set up a friction, the dynamic friction to 0.1 and static friction to 0.1. So why I did that is, when I push these Jenga blocks, I don't want any friction force to be applied to other Jenga blocks and have some sort of a, I just want only the Jenga block that I push to move out. I don't want any other blocks to move out, right? So I don't want any others to have these friction forces and just move all over the place. So that is why I created a very I set up a very low friction in here, right? So all of these cubes, you can see that the box collider, inside the box collider, I have added the Jenga block material, right? Here we go. Okay, now uh, I'm going to select the desk, and in this box collider, I'm going to drag and drop this table material as well, just like this. See, I have a table physics material. I just dragged and dropped this here. Right, so you can click the table material and you can see that I've set the friction to 1 because I don't want any of these things, any of the objects on this to move. It should be movable, but it should be hard to move. Okay, now this is the time to get started with our VR, the XR tool. So when we talk about the XR rig, the XR rig consists of a head and a couple of controllers, right? Your left controller and your right controller, and the head. So usually the camera in VR in the scene is your head, right? So we already have a camera over here called main camera. So I'm not going to be using this. I'm going to delete this, right? Because I don't need any cameras here right now. Now I'm going to right click the hierarchy, an empty space of the hierarchy, and go to XR and choose XR rig action based. I'm going to click it, and it has created 2 files. One is called XR interaction manager, and the other one is called the XR rig. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this XR rig on the floor, right? On the floor. So you can easily do that by holding your control and shift key, right? In Mac, I think it should be command and option. Not really sure about it. And you can just click it and drag it on the surface. So it's going to snap to the surface. You need to press control and shift key and drag it using your move tool. So I'm going to keep it like this. And I'm going to use my rotate tool. And I'm going to rotate this like 180 degrees. So it's going to be looking at the Jenga blocks. Right? You can see the direction of this. The blue color direction is the forward direction. It is set here. And I'm going to select the XR rig. And here you can see the tracking origin mode is set to not specified. I'm going to change this to floor. So when you do that, your standard floor is going to be the reference point in the virtual floor as well, right? So that way you'll be able to feel when you walk around that your actual floor is also represented by your virtual floor as well. Okay. Now we have a bunch of setup to do, right? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to teleport around, right? Because we need to move around these Jenga blocks to like push things, right? So in order to set up the teleportation, the movement, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click the XR rig, and I'm going to click Add Component. I'm going to search for Input Action Manager, and I'm going to select it. And here I'm going to expand Action Assets. Click this plus button and click this dot, and you'll be able to see something called XRI Default Input Actions. I'm going to select it and close the window. Now I'm going to add component. I'm going to search for locomotion system, right? Locomotion system. And I'm going to drag the XR rig and drop on top of this, like this. And I'm going to add another component, which is called teleportation provider. Teleportation provider. And I'm going to, this should be the teleportation system. I'm going to add the locomotion system right here, right? And also, so now we have the teleportation provider and everything. Now I'm going to click this ground, right? So it is inside the workshop set. I'm going to click the ground, right? And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click Add Component. And here I'm going to choose teleportation area, right? So now we define the ground that it is a teleportable area, right? So that's pretty much it for teleportation. Okay. Now, if you select the XR rig, you'll be able to see that the XR rig consists of camera offset. And inside the camera offset, you have the left-hand controller and the right-hand controller, and also the main camera, which is defined as your head, right? So if you play this, If you put this into your VR headset, if you play this, you'll be able to see that you can move around, and also you can teleport using your grip key, right? By default, it is the grip key that is provided by them for us to teleport. Okay, now we are going to do some changes. So in this project, what we need to do is we need to do three things. The first thing is that using our controllers, we need to push them, right? We should be able to push them, in a way that we should be able to push them. And also we need to grab them, grab them out, like drag them out from the from inside, right? So if you use the same controlling methods to push to grab, it's not going to work, because since this is VR and there are like no physical constraints for you to move things around, it's going to be like weird, right? You can just grab it and you can just move things around and everything will be like, the game will be over, right? We don't want to do that. So here we will be adding three controllers for both our left hand and the right hand. So right now you can see only one, right? So what are these three controllers? So one would be to pull, and the other one would be to push, and the third one would be to teleport, right? So we have three hand controller modes: push, pull, teleport, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click the hand controller and I'm going to create an empty parent, right? Create empty parent. So when I do that, you can see that the left hand controller is now a part of another game object right over here. So I'm going to rename this game object in my inspector window. I'm going to call this left, right? And this left hand controller, I'm going to duplicate it 2 more times because I want to create 3 copies of this controller, right? So I'm going to right click, select duplicate. I'm going to right click and select duplicate, right? It's just 3 right here. So the first one is the controller to push. So I'm going to name this. I'm going to name this to push. Oh no, pull would be good, like pull. The second one to push, 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 and the third one to teleport. Push, pull, teleport. Right. So now I'm going to do some changes here, right? So first of all, I'm going to select the pull and push, right? Push and pull. I'm going to select both of them. And I'm going to, in my inspector window, I'm going to retract everything so I can see all the components that I applied to this. I'm going to remove all of these 3: XR Ray Interactor, Line Renderer, and Line Visual, because we don't need to teleport. We don't need to do any default things right over here. So I'm going to remove the Line Visual. Click this, remove component, XR Ray Interactor, remove component, Line Renderer, remove component. So for teleport, we already have all of these 3, and I'm going to keep it as it is. And for the pull and push, right? For the pull and push, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click both of them, and I'm going to add a component. Sorry, for the pull only, not for the push, only for the pull. I'm going to add component, and I'm going to choose XR Direct Interactor. XR Direct Interactor. There we go. So I'm going to press it. And here, I'm going to add another component, and this is going to be something called Sphere Collider. So now you can see at the bottom, you can see this is the place where our hand is going to be by default. And here you'll be able to see a Sphere Collider. I'm going to take this east trigger in this, and I'm going to change the radius of this to 0.025. Right? And you can see that it's a very small sphere right here, 0.025. So this direct interactor is going to be our pulling thing, right? So it is the one that identifies that we have touched a block so that we can pull it outside, right? Okay, now I have the push and teleport. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my prefabs folder, right, inside the VR Jenga. And you can see there are three assets here. So I'm going to drag this drag hand and put it right into this pull object, right? So make sure directly drag it into this pull object. Right now, it will ask me, hey, I want to install TMP Essentials. TMP Essentials is a font package, right? It's a text font package. So I'm going to click import TMP Essentials, and it will install some of the text essentials into this. Right. So I'm going to close this. Now you can see that it is showing me something called drag. See, it says a text called drag, and you'll be able to see a small a ball right here. Right. So also I'm going to drag this push hand into my push, and also this teleport text, I'm going to put it inside teleport. Right. So you'll be able to see like the teleport, the push hand, and the drag hand, all of them in here. Right. So now the plan here is to use a controller button. So here you'll see that there is a controller button. In your left hand controller, it is the X button. And in your right hand controller, it is the A button. So we are going to switch in between these different modes. Right. By pressing this key, we are going to switch like pull, drag, push, teleport, drag, push, teleport. So to do that, we're going to be using our new input system, and we are going to set up a new input button, right? Okay, so I'm going to save the scene first, and I'm going to go inside the samples default input actions, and this one, which is called XR default input actions, I'm going to double click and open it up, and you'll be able to see something like this. So here I'm going to click the left hand, and you'll be able to see a list of options for the left hand, list of actions. I'm going to click this plus button right here and create a new button. So this button, we need this button to switch SWITCH, switch mode. And I'm going to select this no binding. And here I'm going to choose, so this is the left hand. So I'm going to choose the left hand button. So here I'm going to select no binding, and I'm going to choose in here the path. I'm going to search for XR controller left hand, optional controls. And here I'm going to choose something called primary button. This is called the primary button in Unity, right? This right here. So I'm going to select the primary button. So I'm going to replicate the same thing for my right hand as well. Right? Click the right hand, click the plus button, search. I'm going to type switch mode. Go to binding, and here the binding should be not the left controller. It is going to be the right hand, the right controller, optional controls, and choose primary button. So where is it? Primary button. What's the primary button? There you go. Primary button. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and I'm going to click Save Asset over here. There is a button. We need to do this. Click it, and I'm going to close this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the left controller, the parent object, which consists of all of these three. And I'm going to click Add Component, and I'm going to search for something called controller switcher. So this is a script that I gave you, right? So what this does is, based on the input that we bind, it will switch the controls: pull, push, teleport, pull, push, teleport. So here there are like a couple of settings that we need to configure. The first one is controllers to switch. So I'm going to click this. So I have 3 controllers. So I'm going to click this plus button 3 times. And I'm going to drag pull, push, and teleport. Right? Pull, push, teleport. And here, which says the controller switcher, I'm going to click this dot. Right? And make sure that this is the left hand. So I'm going to search for switch mode. And here you can see the 2 modes that we just created: the left hand switch mode and the right hand switch mode. So here I'm going to choose the left hand switch mode. Right. That's pretty much it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing for my right controller as well. So if you missed any step in the previous step, so consider this as a recap, right? Okay. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna fast paste this. So right controller, I'm gonna right click, create empty parent, game object. I'm going to rename this to right, and right hand controller. I'm gonna click create two duplicates of this. The first one is going to be pull, not poo, not poke. It should be pull. The second one it should be push. The third one it should be teleport. Right, so I'm going to select both of the two, and I'm going to remove these things. Remove component, XRA interactor, and the line renderer. Remove everything. I'm going to select the first one only, and I'm going to add component, which is called XR direct interactor. And also, I'm going to add another component, which is called the sphere collider. And I'm going to make sure that the ease trigger is on. And also the radius, I'm going to change this to 0.025. Right, now I'm going to go into my prefabs. Right, so I have the drag hand and the push hand, the teleport text. So I'm going to drag this. I'm going to drag the, not the Jenga block. I'm going to drag push hand into push and the teleport text into this. Right. So, just to clarify, just to show you some things, if you select the push hand, you can see that it has a box collider and also a rigid body, which is kinematic. So since we have a box collider, that means it has some collisions. And when you push this with another box like this, a push hand, you will be able to apply a force using your controller into this Jenga block. Right, so that way you'll be able to slowly move this towards, like move this around. And the drag hand, this consists of nothing, but this pull here, it has something called direct interactor. So the direct interactor is basically a component provided us by Unity to grab and push things. Right, it is called the interactor. So this is pretty much it. Right, and let's see how we can test this. So I'm going to save the scene. So if you if you want to build this to your Quest, you need to go to File, Build Settings, and make sure that your sample scene, this particular scene is added here. If not, you can always drag and drop. You can go to Scenes. If you have a scene, you can just drag and drop the scene over here, right? And go to Android and select Build and Run. So that way you can build this for an Oculus Quest. So right now I'm not using an Oculus Quest. I have PC, Linux, and standalone. I will be able to just click play and test this out. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to take control the stage. So after after his explanation, before the questions, I will be able to show you a video that I captured right before this workshop. So I'm not going to do that right now because I have a choppy laptop working with XR, and Oculus sometimes make things a bit dizzy. My laptop becomes dizzy. So Steph, take the stage. I'm gonna head off.
Right on. Perfect. Thank you very much, Indica. Really appreciate your help here today. And we're going to show you all what this really looks like in about, let's say, 10 minutes here to be safe. We're going to show you the end result here very soon and shortly. So, Indica, I'm just going to remove your stream here quickly. But before I quickly wrap things up for 5-10 minutes and we show you the end result and we get into that Q&A session at the very end, I'm going to toss in a poll here. And the poll's going to ask, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend this workshop to others? So 0, I wouldn't tell anyone about it. Not a word to anyone. 10 being you would recommend this to others. And this really helps us understand whether or not we should continue holding these free workshops and webinars each week to you all here today. So do let us know in the polls tab if you can go to it. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0, I wouldn't say a word about it. 10, I would recommend it to others. Really helps us know whether or not we should continue holding these workshops and webinars, sending you all the recordings to work with afterwards. Really helps us know how we're doing here at Circuit Stream. But thank you all for joining us here today. Let me share my screen here as well. I'm just going to take about 5-10 minutes to wrap things up. Indica's gonna come back, show you the end result, and then we'll get into the Q&A session as well. So now, this, what we showed you here all today, is just a little piece of what we teach people in our courses and programs. And I'm going to touch on those courses and programs here shortly and show you how some students and some learners actually get into this as a career. For instance, we had Mike Oakes, one of our alumni, take our courses here at Circuit Stream, and now he's working with Unity as a software engineer. We had Jennifer Swan as well join us last year, 2 years ago, in our XR development course. And she was accepted, one of 100 people, into Oculus's Launchpad program, where she got funding to continue building her ideas and projects with the support of Oculus and Facebook. And then we'll also show you which courses, Matt DeLallo had taken Circuit Stream course into joining Lucky VR and XR Studio, working with PokerStars VR there. So, as I mentioned, we do have our Introduction to Unity 3D Development course and program. Now, this course and program is 8 weeks long, live and online, instructor-led, and offers an introduction to Unity. Unity in general, doesn't focus on XR, anything else, just Unity in general, walking you through creating your first real-time 3D application. And in this course, it'll be a bowling game, focusing on major Unity systems. And this course will prepare you to earn a Unity Certified User Certificate from Unity themselves. And as I mentioned earlier about Unity, Unity should interest anybody who wants to easily create 3D games and applications for mobile, desktop, the web, and consoles. Now, this is kind of the workflow. The Introduction to Unity 3D Development course will get you the Intro to Unity 3D Development badge by us here at Circuit Stream and help you prepare for that Certified User Programmer certificate by Unity. Now, for this course specifically, as I mentioned, it's 8 weeks long. It's got 2 live classes and sessions per week, an hour and a half each class, for a total of 3 hours of live class instruction with daily open office hours for additional support. 8 weeks, 3 hours of live class, daily 1 hour open office hour sessions. You get the Unity 3D Development badge. The price of this one is $2,500. We do have payment plans and financing options in place as well, with our 12-month plan, splitting it up each month over the year as low as $217 per month. So this course is for anyone interested in Unity. You don't know if you want to do XR, game development, film production, TV production. Take this course. This one is a general overview of Unity, the essentials of Unity that you'd like to potentially learn before focusing on something specific. Now, we do also have our XR Development with Unity program. And this is a project-based 10-week live and online course as well, covering the foundational skill set in augmented reality and virtual reality development, using industry standard tools while emphasizing the opportunity to get hands-on experience and portfolio pieces to show exactly the skills that you've built and developed. And during the course, you'll build several real-world projects, potentially along with your own idea as well. And this course specifically will help you prepare to earn a Unity Associate Programmer certificate. This one, 10 weeks long, 3 hours of live class instruction per week, daily open office hours as well, and even private one-on-one mentorship project sessions to help you build your own idea if you'd like. Now, we do have our interaction design and prototyping for XR course as well. This one is also 10 weeks long, 3 hours of live class instruction per week, daily open office hours, to help you explore the best practices to design and prototype intuitive, usable, and human-centered experiences for AR and VR. And during this course, you will familiarize yourself with the considerations of designing in environments beyond the screen and the tools and skills to physically create those concepts. And this course is designed for anyone interested in understanding how to and why to apply best UX practices when designing and building experiences for AR and VR. Now, with this, we do actually have an open house on October 20th. This is going to be about an hour virtual information session open house around this XR design course. So, for any designers or people who want to complement their development skills with some user experience and design concepts, feel free to register to this. I'm actually going to try and toss in a call to action here, make it easy for you to all find how to register for this free virtual open house. No obligation to join or attend. We'll answer all questions live as well. And a great opportunity to not only learn more about this course and program, but other courses and programs as well. This should be a valid URL. Let me just find this URL for you all here to share. But a great opportunity to ask questions, get to learn the team a little bit better as well. Hopefully, this will send over with the link I'm trying. Beauty, there it is. Awesome. So, if you're interested, feel free to join virtual info session. Great opportunity to learn more about this course specifically, our team, other courses, ask questions, get to know us a little bit better, who we are, what we do, and whatnot. So, that XR development with Unity course will get you our XR development badge to show for and share online with employers, your network, whatever it may be, and prepare you for the Certified Associate Programmer course, certificate, my apologies. That XR design course, the interaction design and prototyping for XR, will get you the XR designer badge. They're both Credly badges. Again, share with employers, your colleagues, your network online, and will help you prepare for the certified professional artist exam as well. Now, we here have a large community and support. As I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this presentation, we've reached over 40,000 people around the world for XR, VR, AR game development in Unity. We have a large community. We offer open office hours to all of our students and alumni 5 times per week. Events, we hold coffee hours, show and tells, demo days. And my apologies, September 24th is not the demo day. I forgot to change that there. Our next demo day is actually tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, October 8th. So I'm going to toss that in here for you all to check it out. If you're interested in seeing, oh, my colleague Dan beat me to it. It's a demo day. See what students have been building and creating themselves. They're most of them, if not all of them, beginners with Unity or XR specifically. So feel free to check it out. Great way to see what people are building, what interests they have themselves as well. Now, for either of these two courses, the XR development or the interaction design, we have a starter pack and a plus package. Now, the starter package is priced at $39.50, and it includes the 10-week course and program, up to 80 hours of live instruction per week, a Unity certification exam voucher. So we'll actually pay for you to take that Unity certification exam. It's actually included within the cost, but you can go. We're so confident in you building these skills that we'll get you the opportunity to become Unity certified as well through the certifications that they offer on their website. We have plus packages for both of these courses as well. So you can get the 10-week course and program, up to 80 and 90 hours of live instruction per week, the Unity certification exam voucher to take anytime in the future. We'll also bundle the C# scripting fundamentals course for you, 4 weeks long with 4 hours of live instruction per week. This includes an Oculus Quest 2 headset that we reimburse you for once you order it yourself as well, and 10 hours of private one-on-one sessions with one of our experts here at CircuitStream, whether it's AR, whether it's VR, game development, VFX, whatever it may be. You can use those one-on-one sessions as you wish. And this is priced at $49.50. And for all of these bundles, we do offer payment plans and financing options as well. So you can split it up into 3 months, 6 months, or over the year each month, 12 months if you would like. We offer this flexibility. We do understand the courses. These large 10 weeks one are only 2.5 months long, but we do love to share positive experiences, help you learn, network with like-minded individuals, and have you a part of the CircuitStream community. Now, as I mentioned, we have team training opportunities as well. So if you have colleagues, working on a project or interested in exploring Unity to work with the architecture, engineering, construction industries, whatever it may be, feel free to reach out to us. We do custom bespoke training and content curriculums to meet your learning needs and project goals as well. Now, for these courses, the plus packages, and even just outside of the courses and packages, we do have live one on one sessions. This can be focused on Unity, this can be focused on Unreal, VR, AR, game development. Again, anything Unity related and most things Unreal, we'd be happy to sit down with you privately and teach you all of this together. Now, if you're interested, feel free to download a syllabus or apply now at circuitstream.com/learning. Again, we'd love to just speak to you, see if it's a good fit, what your interests are. Maybe something else is a better fit, but it doesn't hurt. Check out a syllabus. Feel free to reach out to one of our team members here, and we'd be happy to discuss this all with you together. And these are just some of our Circuit Stream admissions team members. We have Roham, Tyler, and Brendan, as well as Christina, Leanne, and a few others. So feel free to reach out to any of our members. They'd be more than happy to just talk, discuss, see what your interests are, how we can help, what you can do, what the outcomes are, how you can be prepared for the future and the growing real-time 3D industry. So thank you all. I'd love to invite Indica back onto the stage here. Let's check out that VR Jenga project. We're going to open it up for Q&A as well. So if there's any questions that you all have, feel free to toss it into the questions tab. Throw it into the chat if you'd like as well. I don't think the chat will be too crazy at the moment for us losing track. But let me just close this screen here. Indica, thank you. Let's check out the VR Jenga. I'm super curious to see it myself, and let's play later today. I'd love, actually, when you wake up in the morning, because it's probably super late for you now.
Awesome. So I'm gonna play this video that I just did right before the workshop. So it's the same project. So there you go. Right. So here I am opening up the thing, and I'm pressing these buttons, and you can see the drag ball, and I can press the button and I switch in between teleport, drag, and push. Right. Okay. So so now I'm going to teleport a little bit closer to this. So I accidentally teleported with the push key. Yeah. So here, I just put this to push, and arranged it a little bit. And look at this.
Nice.
Pushing. I have to push this all the way through. There you go. All right. So now I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to, using my drag tool, I can now place it on top of this. All right. There we go. All right. So the next one. So this is going to be interesting.
Tumble down, isn't it? This one seems pretty safe. No. Oh,
pretty safe. Oh, there we go.
Hoppa. Very nice. Awesome. Awesome.
So it's the frustrating moment. Like, throw everything around now.
That's awesome. So, and this is just a little piece, something that someone can build in our courses and programs. Great way to have fun with friends and family indoors, when we're stuck inside. Hopefully we're not stuck inside for too much longer. But yeah, as Kara mentioned, this looks a lot of fun, and multiplayer would be awesome as well. Definitely, Christian. Definitely. No, thank you so much, Indica. That's so fun. I know I tried to build a VR escape room one time, but maybe I should start off a little easier, do Jenga, and then do the escape room afterwards. But I love these games to play along with. No, thank you so much. So let's get to some of the questions here. There have been several questions left untouched. So I'm going to start off with the oldest ones first. And again, if there are any questions, doesn't have to be VR related, tech related, AR, toss them into the questions tab. Indica loves talking about technology, so I'm sure he'd love to chat more about it. But we had one question here from Don about an hour ago. So, Don, hopefully you're still with us here. But Don's asking, is there a different Unity setup and configuration for those using Chrome OS? And this was when you were going into the packages at the beginning, Indica.
Um, Actually, for the Chrome OS, I'm not really sure that there is a Unity version. Right now, Unity is available for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux-based systems. I haven't tried out if there are any things available for the Chrome OS. I think not, because Chrome OS uses a web-based platform. Like all of the apps that you install are like JavaScript-based web apps. So I'm not particularly sure that Unity has something like that. So higher probability to the no side.
Okay, perfect. Well, Don,
Yeah.
we'll try and look into it for you as well. But please don't hesitate to reach out. We love helping people with any questions. But great question, Don. Thank you very much. Let's see. So this question's from William, also part of this setup earlier. And William was asking, which of those settings would you use for the Vive? Because we did the Oculus, we went into some other things, but do tell us a little bit more
Yeah.
about that, Indica.
So if you go to the project settings in the edit menu, and we were able to find something called XR plugin management, and inside that we went there and we ticked a tick called Oculus, right? So right under that you should be able to find something called OpenXR. So OpenXR supports all the other platforms except Oculus. I'm not sure whether Oculus is compatible with it, but if you are building for a Vive, you can just tick OpenXR, and the touch controllers and everything is going to be working fine as it is with my
Perfect. So
Quest.
OpenXR, that's the one to focus
Yes.
on, eh? Lovely. Awesome. Thank you, Indica. Then we have one question here from Cecilia. Cecilia is asking, where do you get your models from? Like that IKEA table. You know, you sponsored by IKEA, Indica? What aren't you telling us here?
Yeah, so the models I downloaded from Sketchfab. It's a really good tool to. It's a really good platform to share. If you have a 3D modeler, you can share your files, share your models. You can sell them. You can purchase assets, and there are like a lot of tools, a lot of 3D models I can download for free. So I gave an attribution in my project as well. So we'll be sharing the project. So inside that, you'll be able to see the all of the links.
Mhm.
I added all of them in the project.
Beauty. Awesome. Great question, Cecilia. I was also wondering too. But yeah, we'll share everything with you all afterwards by email as well. So great question, Cecilia. Thank you. This question is from Georgios. Georgios is wondering, Jenga blocks are all the same prefab. Is there a variant that is a different color? Tell us a little bit
Hmm.
about that.
So basically, the prefab, in the sense, it's basically a bunch of cubes, right? I just created a standard cube that is in Unity and stretched it, so it will makes our time a little less to set up the project. But you can use any different colors. You can create materials. You can apply them. Right? Doesn't really need to be on that color. So you can just get one prefab. You can just drag and drop different materials, and you can change the color. So right now I had just two materials. One is the dark brown one, and the other one is the brown one. So both of these textures are in your in the package that we gave you. So you can use like different materials there.
Perfect. Awesome. A great question, George. Georgios. Thank you. Thank you. Lovely. So then here is one from Marco Vasquez. Marco's wondering, quick question. Before building for Android, do you need to switch platform?
Yes. So
Awesome.
I would recommend, if you are building for an Oculus Quest, I would recommend doing that, like switching platform right before you work on the project, because it takes a little bit of time to convert an existing project from an existing platform to Android or to iOS. But you need to do that. So when you do that, then you'll be able to see you'll be able to connect your Quest if you are in the developer mode. You can see like if you are a little bit confused about how to turn the developer mode and things like that, there are a lot of tutorials in our webpage. You can go to our webpage. In our blog, we have a lot of tutorials that goes to nitty gritties in terms of building it for Android and for iOS as well.
Beauty. I'm going to share the blog here in the chat feel free to check out the blog. Lots of juicy wisdom nuggets in there, some knowledge from C sharp to setting up your quest, whatever it may be. Check it out. We're happy to share that with you all. But great question, Marco. Awesome. Let's see. We have one from Shweta, and let's see. Shweta is asking, could be just for a general question. Can we email you for any doubts regarding the building of this VR Jenga game? Yes, Shweta, most definitely. My apologies. I should have answered that earlier. Hopefully, you're still with us here. But yeah, any questions, AR, VR, Unity related, we're here to help. We're here to share that information. So please, please don't hesitate to reach out there. Let's see. Another question from Shweta. Will you be conducting any workshops on XR design anytime soon? Yes, we will. Depending on the responses we get for how likely you are to recommend this workshop for others, we're definitely going to keep holding these workshops and webinars for free each week for people all over the world. And yes, XR design, XR development, game development. We've done Unreal workshops as well, AI, artificial intelligence, you name it. We've probably covered it. And yes, XR design is coming up as well. Then we've got here from Carol. Carol, I love seeing you on these workshops and webinars. Carol's asking, off topic, for multiplayer, pun or mirror?
Pun or mirror. So I think both of them are really good. Pun is like it's older than mirror, and it has like a lot of community support. Mirror is also like now getting some more feedback and more community support to that as well. And mirror is open source. Pun, you have to pay for them. Mirror, I'm not sure whether we have to pay for a mirror server. You can host a mirror server by your own, so you don't really need to pay for mirror servers. But for Pun, which is also known as photon networking, you have to pay for that. If you use Pun, setting up a multiplayer project is much more easier than Mirror. If you use Mirror, you can host it on your own. You can you can do it free of charge without paying Photon.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Hopefully that helps, Carol. We did hold Cash and I think we did multiplayer tag, and we used Photon, right? So we'll try and find that for you as well, Carol, if you didn't catch that. But I'm sure you're already familiar with it, Pun or Mirror. You know what you're talking about. So great question. Awesome. This question's from Brad. Brad, great seeing you here today. Brad's asking, are the office hours one-on-one, or could a person just sit in and see others' questions answered? So the open office hours are open to everybody. We do have the private one-on-one sessions as well, which is one-on-one, screen sharing, that's it. But the open office hours is open for anyone who just wants to talk, ask questions, get additional support. And even if you just want to sit in there and see what people are asking, what they're working on, you're more than welcome to do so. So great question, Brad. Thank you very much. This one is question from Isa or Isa. Is there any way to add one-on-one hours to the starter package? Already have a Quest 2 and I'm taking the fundamentals class already. We're very flexible there. So happy to speak more to that. I'm actually going to make a note of that here for you, Isa. But we do have some flexibility in terms of adding one-on-one sessions and whatnot. So no worries at all. We're here to help any way we can. So no problem. But great question. Very great question. I'll share it with the team here as well. Thank you. So let me just share that here. Awesome. This one's from Danelle. Danelle, great seeing you, my man. So Danelle's asking, do you have any educational partnership opportunities? So we partner with various universities around North America. So if that's what you meant by partnerships, we do work with the University of Toronto, University of British Columbia, Indiana Wesleyan University as well, alongside various others, delivering XR education and content. So yes, we do have these partnership opportunities. I myself am happy to explore any other partnership opportunities as well. I do work on the partnership side. So Danelle, feel free to reach out to myself. I'd be more than happy to explore anything that you have in mind and discuss this a little bit further altogether. Awesome. Then we've got one from Carrie, my man Carrie. Great seeing you as well. Carrie's asking, how would you go about making it as an AR Jenga? So tell us a little bit about that, Indica.
So in terms of AR Jenga, like so when it comes to AR, there are like multiple ways that we can define AR. It can be an AR with a phone like this, or it can be a headset like a Magic Leap or a HoloLens. So if you use a HoloLens, you can use the same project as it is, and you can use your hand as the controllers. That is pretty much it. And then you can your hand, and you can just push it. You can combine. You can set up the controllers to different different gestures. um, but when it comes to a mobile based AR project, then you need to define some sort of controls, some sort of buttons to push and pull, right? So that you have to do it. Basically, you just applying a little bit of a force from a side. So those things you can do that. But the setting up the project is exactly similar. In order to do that, you don't really need to install XR plugin management or XR interaction toolkit. XR plugin management you need to, because we'll be using AR Core or AR Kit frameworks that is provided by Apple and Android. So if you want to get into the nitty gritties of setting up an AR project, we will be doing another workshop next week. It is an AR uh, alien shooting game,
Yep.
right? It's an AR alien shooting game. So we're going to be working on that. So you'll be able to like shoot aliens around. So the setting up the project would be exactly similar to that. And the rest, like setting up Jenga blocks, it will be similar to what you see here today. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Indica. Yeah, feel free to check out some of the ones we come up, but hopefully this helped you out a little bit there, Carrie. This question is from Brad. Brad's asking, I know you touched on this briefly, but could you quickly talk through the actual process of loading the program onto your device in Oculus Quest 2 specifically?
All right. So let me give a quick minute to share my screen again. Um, so there we go. So usually, by default, if you wanna deploy an application, usually what you do is you go to File, Build Settings, and switch to the Android platform first. So this might take a while for me, so I'm not going to do that. And here, if your Quest is connected, you'll be able to see the Oculus Quest, right? You select this and press Build and Run. It might take a little bit of time, and then it will automatically installed in your Quest. But if you're in order to do this, you need to enable developer options. There's a bunch of steps that you need to do. You can easily do that by instead of just directly installing this into your device, there is something called just build. You can just, instead of just building and run, there will be a button called build. It will give you an Android package, which is called an APK file, right? So there is an application which is known as SideQuest, right? So it's a separate, like it's a very good application for Oculus Quests. So it's something like this. So here you'll be able to. So this thing is called SideQuest. There is a button called Install APK file from folder on your computer. So you need to select this and give wherever your APK file is, and it will automatically install that to your Quest. So that is the workflow. If you have any questions, feel free to join our Slack channel and send me a message, and I'll be able to help you out a little bit further.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully that helped out, but great question as well. One here from Shweta. Shweta is asking, unrelated, but what mixed reality headset would you suggest for a beginner? I'm interested in doing research using MR headsets and would love any suggestions and tips to start on development work.
So when it comes to mixed reality headsets, I think most of the MR headsets, like the Hololens and also the Magic Leap, are in the expensive region. Like the Hololens, it costs about $3,500, and Magic Leap is also a little bit closer to that. But if you want to get started with mixed reality, I think the cheapest option for you is to start off with an Oculus Quest. So quite recently, Oculus Quest 2, right? Nothing else. Oculus Quest 2, Oculus introduced something called the pass-through API, where you can use these cameras, and you'll be able to see the outside world, right? It will not do like it will not so right now it is in the earlier stages, but you can use this pass through API to get whatever that is outside. And you can use the Microsoft mixed reality toolkit, so that you'll be able to use your Quest as a mixed reality device, right? So pass through API, see how you can like set up the pass through API, and see what are the things that people are doing with the pass through APIs. Integrate that with your Oculus Quest project. Now you have a mixed reality headset. That
Yeah.
is a one very good way to start working on that, rather than investing a lot on a HoloLens or something like that.
Great point. Great point, Indica. Yeah, the Quest Pass through a very affordable way to get going with a mixed reality kind of experience. You got the HoloLens, you got the Vario or Varjo headsets as well, but those are, yeah, gonna need some moolah for those. But great question, Shweta. Awesome. This one's from Carrie. Carrie's asking, what do you think about the Vive Pro 2? So I actually have nothing bad to say about the Vive Pro 2, but what about yourself, Indica?
I think it's a really good it's a really good headset. I've been using a Vive for about 2 years, and the Vive has been a really good VR headset. And I believe I haven't tested out the Vive Pro 2, and I believe that Vive Pro 2 is also a good headset. But if you want to get started with development with standalone VR development, I would recommend Oculus Quest. It is one of the cheapest that you can find in the market, and also one of the best performing devices as well.
Beauty. Awesome. Great question, Carrie. Love it. Love it. This one is from Avery, and Avery's asking, could you talk a bit about the C Sharp scripting fundamentals course? Yes, not a problem at all. So, the C Sharp scripting fundamentals course is really an introduction to C Sharp coding, scripting, programming in Unity specifically. So, it's a 4 week live and online course that really dives into core programming concepts of C Sharp. So, there's a game everyone builds all together. I don't know if it's changed, but it was like a muffin cupcake clicking game. But the whole goal of this 4 week course, it's all live and online, 2 classes per week, an hour and a half each class, really to help people learn C Sharp before diving into programming for VR, AR, game development, anything. C Sharp tends to be the steepest learning curve for anyone who's new to coding and scripting. It was for myself. When I took our course 2 years ago or so, C Sharp, I took so much time on my own to learn C Sharp, pick it up. And again, it's the steepest learning curve for anyone who's new to it. Unity comes easy. Navigation, layouts, it's fun playing with Unity. And not that coding's not fun as well once you pick it up, but it takes some time to get used to it. It takes some time to wrap your head around it. So hopefully that helps answer your question here a little bit. It's a beginner coding course for C Sharp and Unity. 2 classes per week, an hour and a half each class, 3 hours in total. Open office hour as well for additional support on C Sharp and Unity. But again, very intro for those who want to build the confidence, get more familiar with C Sharp, refresh on C Sharp if they've learned it years ago. So I hope that helps answer your question there, Avery. But do let me know if there's anything else I can expand on or dive deeper into. Great question. Great question. Question from Celine. Celine's asking, what is the advantage of taking your course through a partnership with a university? Is there more support, local on-site sessions? So similar, if not the exact same courses and programs we're teaching here at Circus Stream. With the universities, if you do go through the university, you get the my apologies, university certification as well, in addition to the Circus Stream badges, the potential Unity one as well. With us here, we offer the Unity vouchers, so you can become Unity certified afterwards too. But the main difference is through one of our university partners, you'll get that Unity certification as well, in addition to all the things you get with us here at Circus Stream. So great question, Celine. I think one of my colleagues is going to reach out to you to touch on this a little bit further together as well. This one is from Brian. Brian's asking, how lost would someone be in the XR development course if they don't have a C sharp background and didn't take the 4 week C sharp fundamentals course? You know what? It differs per person. Um, Obviously, knowing C sharp in advance will only help you hit the ground running much faster. The XR development course is open for beginners and intermediate level people, even experts as well, if they would like. So, the XR development course is beginner friendly. You don't need to do the C sharp course in advance, but it will help you hit the ground running faster. So, to answer your question, Brian, how lost would someone be in the course? Not that lost at all. You'll still learn C sharp in the XR development course, but you'll probably have to take more time on your own outside of the classes to review the C sharp, review the recordings, join more open office hours, leverage the Slack community channel we have. It'll take you more time to pick it up. I'm assuming, again, it's different per person. Some people pick up the numbers and the layouts, the language is much easier. I didn't take the 4 week C sharp course when I did our XR development course. I passed. I created my own projects, but I did take a lot of my own time to review and learn more C sharp. So, not a prerequisite. It will add value. Obviously, you'll hit the ground running. So you won't be lost. You may be a little more lost compared to someone who has done it, but nonetheless, lots of support here at Circus Stream. We'd love to help you grow, upskill, and really develop your C sharp and scripting skills as you're working on any Unity projects you're building. So hopefully that helps, Avery. Or Brian, my apologies. But a great question. Let me know if there's anything else you can touch on as well. So we've got one from Abdul Malik that you answered. Indica. Another one from Saline. Do you have a quick demo of the C sharp fundamentals course? So not with me at the moment, Saline. But if my colleague, one of my colleagues and advisors do reach out, feel free to ask him or her. They'd be more than happy to share some of that stuff with you, speak to it, give you an idea of what it would look like. But let's actually open this question up live so people can see it. But I don't have a demo to show you at the moment, but feel free to reach out to our team. Someone might reach out to you pretty soon here anyway. Ask them. We're here to help any way we can. We're an open book, so we'll try and support you any way possible. But let's see, did I miss anything else? I'm going to go to not answered on the questions tab. I think we got all the questions here. Great questions, everyone. Thank you so much for all the great questions. Let me just take a quick scan here through the chat, see if I've missed anything. But, if I have missed anything, please toss it into questions or chat tab right here. But I'm going to go slowly and wrap up this workshop and webinar. Indica, I know it's probably, what time is it? Wait, don't say it. Is it 1 a.m. for you right now?
Yeah, not that late. It's around 11:30 now.
Oh, okay. It's 12-hour difference from myself. But Indica, the man, the myth, the legend, thank you so much for your time here today, staying up super late to help people learn how to build a VR Jenga project, answering questions about tech. Really do appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone who's still tuning in here to this workshop and webinar, for joining us today. Feel free to check out our website, the blog, future workshops, our open house, the courses and programs. Please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. We'd love to help you any way we can. Jessica in the chat, thank you so much. Shweta, thank you as well. It means a lot to us. But with that, we're going to conclude our workshop and webinar here. If there are any last minute questions, toss them in right now. But Indica, again, thank you so much for your help today. Dayon in the chat, backstage supporting the team. Dayon, thank you very much as well for sharing the links, workshops, courses, everything backstage as well. Really do appreciate it. Jessica, a trooper 148 in Taiwan. That's in the morning. I know you're a night owl though, Jessica. So this is regular hours for you, I'm assuming. But thank you all. Andrew, thank you. Emiliano, Brad, Jessica, thank you all. I see Jimmy's typing as well. Really, these workshops, it wouldn't be possible without the instructors, the people backstage, all of you joining as well. So Thanks again. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful morning for those who are still tuning in around the world. Uh, and we do hope to see you on future workshops and webinars. David, check it. We'll see you soon, buddy. Alex, thank you. Rocchio, Rocchio, thank you very much. Jimmy, our pleasure. And take care, everyone. Hope to see you again soon. Workshops, courses, anywhere really. But take care. Thanks again, Indica.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.